Welcome back, everyone. I am a little bit biased, but I'm very excited for this panel. We will go behind the scenes of our podcast, Behind the Review, with three of my previous guests from this season. Angela, Misty, Alex, you want to join me up here and turn your cameras on? We will dive into the dialogue in just a moment. Before we get started, I want to let everyone know that we will save time for about the last 10 minutes to take live questions from you guys. But this dialogue today is really going to be focused on all of the great ways these women in very different industries and very different size businesses manage their online reputation and their online reviews. So first, let's just go around the circle and have everyone introduce who they are, where they're at, and the name of their business. Angela, I'll kick it to you first.
Hi there, my name is Angela Shen, and I'm the founder of Savor Seattle Food Tours. We are based in Seattle, Washington.
Awesome. Alex, over to you.
Hello, my name is Alex Bradberry, and I'm founder of the Sparkle Bar, a makeup and beauty studio based in Scottsdale, Arizona. That's like Dry Bar, but for makeup.
Misty, closing.
Hi, Misty Akers, Tampa, Florida, founder of The Candle Pour, where you can build from over 100 custom scent blends, different products, flameless, and mainly candles.
Awesome. I'm so grateful to have the three of you here today. You know, whenever I talk about reviews with business owners, truly the best thing that I think helps in that conversation and dialogue is just firsthand experiences from business owners who have done it themselves. And that's what we try to do on the show, Behind the Review. But I'm really excited to just talk off mic today and share all the great experience you guys have. Let's go around the circle and tactically have everyone answer how they manage their reviews. So across the main platforms that matter to you, feel free to name those. And then is it you? Is it a teammate? How do you manage and monitor those reviews? I'm going to start with you again, Angela, and then we'll go opposite directions for the following question.
So we've been in business for over 15 years and have a significant review presence on Yelp, of course, but as well as on TripAdvisor and a few other review sites. And for the first, I would say 7 years or so, I managed all of the reviews on my own. But as we grew, that really became a bit challenging. And so our customer service team is trained to review those on nearly a daily basis and really escalate anything that's below a 4-star or at even a 4-star upwards, so that everyone on the senior team has visibility to that feedback.
That's great. Alex, talk to me about what you guys do at the Sparkle Bar.
Yes, the Sparkle Bar is a makeup and beauty studio where what we do is so about an experience and creating something that feels memorable by providing these expert makeup applications where women come and have an idea in mind about an experience. So our reviews I manage. We've been in business now for 5 years, and it is really a recount of every individual's opportunity to share with others what it was like to visit the Sparkle Bar. And I'm so honored by every single person who takes the time to write a review on our behalf to share the experience, because I know that it helps other people make the decision to actually come see us. In addition to Yelp, also, anywhere else people would search for businesses like ours, like Google, we have a presence, and Facebook. But certainly Yelp is where I find people, obviously are looking for and understanding what to expect with an experience. So
that's great. And Misty, how do you guys handle the reviews for the shop? You're relatively new in business, just opening about a year before the pandemic. Tell me about what that's been like for you with management.
Yeah, so we handle all of ours still. My husband and I are co-founders. We're still learning. So it's really important for us to know what the customers expect, if we're meeting those expectations. We learn from every single one. We have been fortunate to have mostly positive, but we have had some negative reviews as well. So, really just sharing them with the team, making sure that we're doing everything we can to exceed expectations, so no one's in question. But basically, Yelp is a big one for us. I think a lot of the Yelp users are very active in searching for businesses that way. Google is probably, one that's big too, because that's how a lot of people find us online. And then Facebook recommendations as well, but the Yelp and Google are our two main ones.
I love that. And, you three women all have great experience learning from reviews and gleaning insights and information. Misty, let me stick with you for a minute. Can you share a story about a review that you got where maybe it alerted you to something you hadn't thought of or didn't know about, and how that was able to be a helpful experience for you, even if it was a little bit critical or they were sharing feedback that you weren't aware?
Yeah, I think a lot of it for us, as Alex said, it's an experience. So if our team, what we want to do is remind our team, people are coming. This is usually the first time they've ever made a candle on their own. So we want to make sure that we really exceed their expectations and make sure that they're having a great time. We do it all the time. It's not new to us. And we just have to remember to remind our staff is, this may be the 10,000th candle that you've made, but for some people it's their first. So you have to keep that excitement for every single person that comes in, and just refresh yourself, and make sure that you're meeting that expectation every time.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And, a lot of negative reviews are often just a missed expectation, right? And sometimes that's based on expectations that you have set as a business, and sometimes it's not. Angela, do you want to share any experiences? I'm envisioning maybe more from the tourism business days than the box business, but how about a time where you heard something from a client or a customer and you thought, wow, I would have never known this if they didn't take to this medium to let us?
So we're in the business of operating guided food tours. So essentially, we take people to different restaurants and eateries in town, like a progressive meal on foot. And so we'd been doing that for 14 years prior to COVID. And then COVID hit. And so we had to completely reinvent ourselves during that time. And so, pretty much on a dime, we instead boxed everything up and said, instead of bringing people to these places, we'll just put all of these great foods from these great restaurants and eateries into a box, and then we'll deliver them right to people's doorsteps. Had no idea if it was going to work. And so on social media, review platforms, and so forth, everywhere, I think there was a bit of confusion for a while there as to what kind of business we actually were, because our entire legacy up until that point had been in the space of operating food tours. And so I think there was even a review very early on when we started doing boxes, and a customer was really confused as to what it was that we were doing. And like, this is a tour company, but they ship food boxes? Like, this doesn't make any sense to us. And so it actually ended up being a great opportunity for us to slow down and reply. And I think that that's the important thing too, not just replying to positive reviews, which is an easy thing to do, but anything that's critical, because like you said, it could be a misunderstanding of expectations, or truly, like, we could have done something wrong. And it's an opportunity for us to be human, own it, and improve. And so in that moment, we wrote a response through the lens of, okay, we're trying to explain to our customers who have known us for so long for doing one thing, what the heck it is that we're doing now with these boxes. And that's how I would always think about writing a response, is you're not necessarily responding to just that one customer who wrote that review, but thinking about from the lens of a prospective customer who's thinking about using your product or not using your product. And that's who you're really talking to.
I love that advice. I think that is so critical. It's not about winning that reviewer over. It's about reflecting customer service practices of your business as a whole. I want to get real for a minute. When we chatted, the three of us pre-event, Misty shared a little story about getting a negative review about their COVID precautions. So just to give you guys a high level, in this candle shop, they're normally like smelling a bunch of scents and making decisions about their candle or their room spray. And so with COVID and masks, they have some different procedures, but it is still very much an experience, and they can still provide great connections and great items for their customers. But someone just really decided they were going to write a negative review basically about every safety precaution you had put in place. I think to start, Misty, just share with us, what that felt like, how hard that was for you to first get that, but then also how you and Dennis pivoted and decided to move forward from that review.
Yeah, it was hard. I think, our business, as you mentioned, is very hands-on. So everything that a global pandemic, in this case with COVID, has said, don't gather. Our whole business concept is gathering, being with people versus being on the internet and doing something at home. Touching, we're touching over 100 different candles per person that comes in. So those are what typically people are doing to sample what they like, figure out like what direction they want to go. And there's a lot of stuff that they have no idea if they like it or don't. So it gives them the chance to really just get a feel for the different scents. And the mask, like everything we do is nose related. So if somebody is putting something directly to their nose, we take it, we put it to someone else's nose. That we just felt like this was the only way that we could safely open. So we have everyone keep the mask on. We've eliminated what we call our scent wall, which is all the candles that people would be touching, because we just can't possibly go behind everyone and sanitize. The response was great. I think there was so many people that were just happy that we made it. We had the opportunity of people that had come in before that would call and they were like, oh, good, you're open. We were afraid, just knowing what our business is like, that we would have not survived. So we got with our team. The team was actually the pushers on us reopening. We stayed closed for 5 months, even though we really only had to close for that 2 to 4 week period. And we got together just to put together a really safe experience for people where we could stay in business, but customers wouldn't feel that they were in danger. And also we didn't want to be the hub of spreading COVID all over, Tampa and the community. So the different things that we did is before, the big one is reservation only. Before we're walk-in. So now everybody that goes on our website is going to book, they go online, they're booking their reservation. And then we list all the protocols. We did that also mainly just for people to know what to expect, not to get frustrated. And for those who had been in before, they would know, okay, we're not going to be smelling the scent wall. But they're still pretty much doing everything else. So this review, I think the disheartening part was we're up against a pandemic, and as business owners anyway, as Angela mentioned, like her whole business is different. Yes, we know people are going to be confused. Our team was prepared, but what we weren't prepared for was for something out of our control to cause us to have a negative review where people are reading that. So to answer your question, what we decided to do is rather than go through, and this individual basically went through every protocol we had and talked about why, she was upset she couldn't drink her coffee. She was upset she had to wear a mask. And we just felt really defeated. But what we wanted to do was stand firm on our beliefs and keeping this, the safety of the community first, our business second. And we've continued to do that. So what we did was just address the Yelp community and say, yes, we understand these are frustrations. This is why we're doing what we're doing. We explained our business. We explained what we are doing now and what we were doing before, and the reasons that we decided just to take, we had to reimagine our whole business. So, we just spoke to the community, and we've had a ton of people say they came in because they were aware of what we did and thought, you can't do that in a global pandemic. So they said the only reason we came in is we read your response and realized that you were taking this very seriously, especially in the state of Florida, where, unfortunately, I think there's a lot of people that are very lax with the pandemic.
Yeah, I think that's, really important, sticking to your true core business model and the reason you're making those decisions, and, gleaning insights and information where you can, but more so really sticking to the things that matter most to you, and allowing that to resonate with your customers that are the right fit for right now. So that's fantastic. Let's transition a little bit and talk about positive reviews. I think a lot of business owners, they shy away from online sites with reviews or engaging with reviews because of that fear of the negative, right? But I mean, on Yelp, we have more 5-star reviews than 1, 2, and 3 combined, right? Most people are looking to share those great experiences. When you guys get reviews, how do you leverage those reviews in marketing? How do you share them and use them to help grow your brand? Alex, let's start with you.
Reviews are amazing. They literally make me beam ear to ear every time I read about an experience a client had with us, because it's just a demonstration of us being able to put into practice the things that we like aim to do with each experience. And so when they write about it and then talk about the details and what it felt like for them to be in studio and what the energy was like, it's like, yes. And so we share those with our team as opportunities to like praise them and remind everyone like the impact that we get to have on people after they leave our studio, and like what that looks like, whether it's for a wedding or a job interview. I mean, we also share that within our community, online, Instagram, wherever people are learning about us, because it also gives them an opportunity to put themselves in the seat and imagine their experience with us. So it's great. We are so grateful for every single person who takes the time to actually detail their experience with us. I'm so aware of the fact that so many people actually make a decision to say yes, to book an appointment, to purchase because of something someone else wrote. So I am very grateful.
Yes, Angela, you're next. Go.
Well, and I'll combine my response with a question in the chat from Carly. She asked, what are some best practices for gaining more reviews and encouraging people to share? And, we take our reviews very seriously. And it's something that we're really proud of. And so not, just sharing that with our customers. And of course, we have like a review wall in our office where we print off people's reviews and highlight the names of our tour guides and people who work behind the scenes that are mentioned in a review. Getting like a named review is like, you're a total rock star. And we do Bravo Bucks at staff meetings and, recognize people that way. But, I think it's a subtlety thing in terms of like, how can you proactively, cue someone to think about reviews, right? And so even in our advertising, like our brochures or on our tour maps, we include that we're 5-star rated on Yelp, right? And so like that is enough oftentimes for people to realize like, oh my gosh, right? Gosh, I had a great experience. Like maybe I should like post about it, And so we're loud and proud about our reviews, and it just kind of feeds into the next one. And that's what I would say. Like, even if you only have 10, right? I mean, if you're 5-star rated, say so, right? Like sing that loud and proud.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point. And, I also want to say for anyone out there who maybe only has a few reviews, or, maybe you're 4 stars or 3.5 stars, I think there's so much that goes into that reputation. And it's, the photos on your Yelp page. It is, if you're responding to those critical reviews, it's so much more than just the 5-star and the quantity. And you guys know that so well. I want to talk a little bit about how you guys get yourself in the right emotional headspace to be more strategic with reviews as opposed to getting frustrated. I mean, you all are very much so the creators of your business. They are your second babies in addition to your real children that you all have. But I know that you're all very professional with the way you respond, manage, and engage with reviews. How do you separate those two? How are you able to remove some of the emotion and be a little bit more strategic? Misty, do you have any advice to kick us off?
Sure. I think time, especially if it's something that's not positive, is your immediate, you just want to like respond and you want to tell them, no, you did, this was why we're right. And I think taking time and then really saying like, okay, let me put myself in their shoes. Did we do everything in our power? Is there something that we could have done differently? for them not to feel that way. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just not reacting, but taking time to respond. People appreciate that. They took the time to go on and write something. One of the things that we try to do is contact every person, directly. So if it is a negative review, we just call them, email, that we're so sorry. Let us know what we could have done differently. Let us know how to make it right. That's the big thing, is people come with an expectation. And if you don't meet it, you have to, at that point, exceed the expectation and making it right. And that's just a big thing for us. If it's positive, it's like hitting a home run, because they don't come. It's not like we're getting them every hour. So if we do get one, usually for us, a review comes, maybe a couple times, 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes more. But that's something that we celebrate. We share with the team. We'll send it in a group chat. Just let that individual know how thankful and grateful we are for them and the way that they treated our customers. Because this is our business. It's the livelihood of our family. And so when they can understand and they appreciate that, and they're doing the best to represent us the way that we hope, it's huge for us.
Yeah, Angela or Alex, anything you want to share on that before I switch gears a little bit? Angela, you look ready.
I'll also answer another question that was in the chat from an anonymous attendee, asking, how do we handle when we get targeted by hate crimes, or, people are going to social media to try to get non-customers to write negative reviews, and you're just being unfairly targeted for something that, first of all, they've never even experienced your product, and it's clearly a fraudulent review. So we've definitely experienced that before. And even this past summer, with, the George Floyd shooting, we were really pretty public about our stance about social justice, and in fact launched a box that was called the Solidarity Box that featured all Black-owned businesses. We launched that within 48 hours. And we were met with mostly, supportive people, but believe it or not, there was a little bit of negative backlash, and that was really emotionally charged, right? And it's, as Misty mentioned, a lot of that is, okay, we've got to take a break and not respond right away. And then I also think of it as, okay, if I have reviews like that, first of all, you can dispute them, right? But number two, I take it as an opportunity to show the human and vulnerable side of who we are. We're not just this big behemoth business. Like, there are legitimately people behind these businesses. I am a minority. And so being able to represent that voice, and frankly, at that point, I actually thought of it like this, like, none of our businesses are for everyone. Therefore, not all customers are customers that are right for us. And frankly, I wouldn't necessarily want a customer who is going to be that hurtful in that manner. And so it's an opportunity for me to actually showcase what we stand for, who we are, louder, when we can respond to those reviews in a really genuine manner.
Yeah, I think that's super important. And, it is really hard when you get a review like that, and it can feel really defeating and like you're completely out of power and out of control. And I think you guys have given some good advice for that. I think another thing to remember is consumers are smart, curious people as well, right? So when they see that stuff or they read that stuff, sometimes it already identifies itself as an outlier, right? Something as simple as your response sometimes puts that review or reviewer in question. So I think that's a really, really good thing to point out. We have about 15 minutes here, so I will start taking questions from the audience. I think you ladies have so much more to share, so let's tailor it to the people who are on the line with us. As Angela mentioned, Carly asks, what are some best practices for getting more Yelpers to review, share photos, check in? I know you had mentioned, Angela, some great ways to engage. Anything you guys want to share about maybe what's been successful when you share a review on social, or how you've seen success in passively engaging for reviews? And before I toss it to you guys, let me just point for the whole audience. If you guys don't know this, on Yelp, we recommend and strongly tell business owners that you should not be asking for or soliciting reviews. So Angela's point about wanting to be more natural and do it in a way that is showing them instead of telling them is great advice. Anything you want to elaborate on that, either Alex or Misty, to add?
So, as a service provider, my business is around makeup, right? We offer makeup applications. So, as part of our customer experience, when people book an appointment, they get a confirmation. After their appointment, we ask them to share, any feedback on their experience, where we also are able to show them where we also house our reviews or whatever if they wanted to see more. But it really is about creating this awesome experience, truly, that people want to write home about. We're a business that doesn't have a lot of reviews. Actually, I think there's like 70 something there, but they are so like authentic and genuine, and it's such an honor to receive them. So I really do rely on them and share them within social media and on other platforms, because I do believe that it helps people make a choice about who we are as they are experiencing us the way that we like envision that. So that's been definitely a powerful way that we are encouraging people to think about us and share more people or share more about us with their friends and family.
I think that's fantastic. Okay, maybe I'll start with Misty for this one, but Alex, Angela, if you'd like to jump in. This is a fantastic question. I'm very curious of your answer, to be honest. What are your thoughts on how to handle mask mandates being eliminated, but you still requiring masks in your business? I think the underlying question there is like, how could that impact what people are saying about you online? But first, let's just throw it to if you've had to deal with that at all. How have you been handling those situations?
It started, especially as people are beginning to be vaccinated. They come in, they're not wearing a mask. We talk to them, oh, I'm vaccinated. And I'm like, that is awesome. We appreciate it, but we are not. And right now, we're going to continue our COVID protocols for the safety of everyone. It is something that we've been a little, I would be lying, we're a little nervous about as things continue. And Florida, I think, is a little ahead of other states as well as just lightening up. So you do have, for the most part, let's say 98% people are coming in, they understand, they're all about it, even if they have trouble smelling. Now we're asking people to smell through masks, so they're able to do that. So we do provide thinner ones if they have something that's thicker or hard to smell. But it's definitely a concern. Just being, we've already started to feel it when there is a mandate, and if it is released, and we still feel it is in the best interest of our employees and the community to keep doing the protocols we are a little nervous about that, but we're just gonna keep trucking through, and that's all we can do. But we are standing pretty firmly about being safe versus trying to get as many people as we can in.
Absolutely. And, I just have to say, in general, you guys, I think there is a huge population of people that really appreciate the role businesses take in keeping their customers and their staff safe. And while you might have that sliver of people who are really giving you a hard time, I think the rest of the group is really grateful when you are the enforcer, even though it's hard. I've gotten on a plane one time in COVID, and I have to say the thing that kept me feeling safe and secure was when a flight attendant or stewardess would tell someone to bring their mask above their nose. And it's hard that they have to be the tough guy, but I think you're on the right path, Missy. Don't overthink it until you are dealing with that customer. And when you are, you kind of have to stay true to your ground. I think that's great advice. I'm going to quickly address a question from the audience that I think will require a little Yelp response, but you guys can jump in because you've dealt with our recommendation software as well. Someone asked about reviews on Yelp being not recommended. So, for those of you who aren't familiar, Yelp has a review recommendation software. It's in place to protect consumers and business owners. It's looking at tons of signals, everything from who wrote the review, what we know about them, how active they've been on the site, have they written other reviews before, but also just the content of their review. So, Yelp, unlike Google or other sites, is not a drive-by site. We don't like reviews with just, one word, great. We want a little bit of color. We want a little bit of the experience shared. And so that algorithm is constantly working to recommend and not recommend content based on reliability and how trustworthy it is. Now, that algorithm is also looking for and working against reviews that have been solicited or asked for. And Yelp takes a very strong stance on that. I always tell people when I'm educating about this, the reason that you don't want to do that is because it creates innate bias. And sometimes it's a little uncomfortable with your customer too, if you're, really going after them to share their experience instead of letting it happen naturally. So it can be frustrating when those reviews are not recommended, but I always advise if you're not pointing people there, if you're not pushing or asking for reviews, you should be fine. Just let that algorithm work on its own and share the wealth of what customers are saying about you online in a lot of places so you can get people more engaged to share their experience. Do any three of you ladies feel like you want to maybe share some of your own frustration or personal experience and how you've been able to overcome that? I know it can be a frustration for a lot of business owners. Misty, go right ahead.
We have, for Yelp out there, we have 7 5-star reviews, and those are the only ones that are in the not recommended. So it is frustrating, but we have to focus on the ones that did make it. And I think what happens with ours is we are doing something totally unique that people haven't experienced. So like our cry is that we want those to be there because somebody actually opened an account at times just to go on Yelp to give us 5 stars because they had an incredible experience. I do understand, it does, if they've only done one, they've never done another again. It does make sense. So what we just try to do is focus on the ones that people can see. We always respond, and thank people for going on, and, just hope that at some point those people will continue to do more reviews, and then hopefully they will get out of that bucket into, the main response.
And you mentioned an important point. That algorithm is constantly running and changing. So reviews can move to the recommended section or the not over time. So great point to mention. Angela, Alex, anything on this topic before we take a last question or two?
I think in general that the recommended versus not recommended ratio is super low. So that, oftentimes I don't see that things aren't making their way to the recommended side. So to Misty's point, to stay focused on the positive ones because the ratio is probably on the latter versus the former.
Yeah, I think that's huge. Okay, we have a question coming in specific to how important are reviews to nonprofit organizations. This attendee has a sports league that's very active in the community. They're all volunteers, and occasionally there's some personality conflicts, or people maybe have issues with old gear, non-glamorous locations. How could they address those types of issues over things that they really maybe don't have much control? I'll just firstly say that I think for nonprofits in general, Yelp is a great place to have a presence at a bare minimum. If you don't have reviews, having your free profile with all the information about what you do is a great starting point. Angela, I saw you giving me a little nod. Do you have any advice on this topic about how to help them maybe just kind of get in front of comments about things they know are shortcomings to their group because it is under?
Yeah, certainly. In your description and even underneath your profile, there's a Q&A section, so you can actually ask, phrase questions that will then that you can when you respond answers those common concerns, right? I also think keeping your emotions in check and trying to write neutrally in that situation will be really helpful because, like you said, these are factors outside of your control, and I think focusing on the fact that, yes, you moved to venue, you're using, let's say public park space or public sports arenas and so forth. These are not venues that you manage on your own. and that you appreciate, and again, just be gracious, you appreciate the support of those in the community that partake in these activities that enable you to continue to do what you love doing.
Alex, you look like you're ready to jump in.
Well, and I think that's also an opportunity to share about your mission and give people an opportunity to learn more about what you're doing and that you are a nonprofit and in the ways that they can support your business by, participating, however that looks. So those comments could be an opportunity for people to learn more about how they can help too.
Yeah, I always say use the opportunity with one person's criticism to point out the favorite things that you want to mention, right? You can kind of flip it on its head and give them some of that information that can be great for everyone else who comes along the page and sees. Okay, we have a question from Ivory. This might be our last one, but depending on how fast, maybe we can squeeze one more. Other than sharing previous reviews, what are other ways that you encourage your customers to share reviews or to share their experience? Oh, I should probably ask one of you specifically. Misty, do you have anything on the topic you'd like to share? What are you guys doing in the candle pour to kind of get that?
We try to keep everything organic. We really don't want to ask, if somebody asks, hey, I'd love to leave you guys a tip or something, you know what, just share your experience. We don't necessarily say, go on Yelp, go on Google, but, a flattering tip, and something to do for us is sharing your experience, whether it's on your social media, and just trying to keep it organic. We don't want to keep it forced. We do the same with influencers. We don't have paid influencers that come in that we want them to go and then do a story and a post because we're giving them free candles. Is when they call, we just say, hey, we want you to come in and experience it because we want you to feel the same that every customer does. And we've really stood by that. And we still get a lot of people that come in, but for them to share, we really just try to keep it organic.
Go ahead, Alex.
So I think that we also have referral programs in place. I mean, I love referrals because it is the best compliment. Someone literally telling another friend about an experience they had and telling someone to come see you. So we definitely give our clients the opportunity to share with their friends the sparkle if they love their experience. And in doing that, that's definitely helped us to reach more people because why not, offer a nice bounce back or something to encourage people to bring a friend next time. So I think leveraging those opportunities is super important and allowing you to organically grow and introduce one at a time.
I love that. I think social, especially in the last year, has become such a more direct barrier between businesses and their customers. I mean, I remember the days of everything needing to be polished and professional for social, and now business owners are letting you behind the scenes, showing you what's going on. I think that's so fantastic. Ladies, I could not have been more thrilled to spend the last 45 minutes with you. You know I love you all so much, and I'm so grateful for the great advice you've shared today, as well as on the show. Shameless plug for anyone who likes podcasts. Check out Behind the Review. Alex was episode 3. Misty was episode 5. And Angela's episode comes out tomorrow. So please, please, please check out the show. Let us know what you think. And if you're really just looking for insights and perspective from business owners who have a variety of different approaches when it comes to reviews, I think you'll really love that show. Ladies, your knowledge and expertise have been so, so helpful. Thank you for spending the time today. And I can't look forward to talking to you next time more. It's been great having you.